Hi everybody, David Paul with you in the KHOU 11 Weather Center. We're in Houston, Texas. It is Thursday evening, it's October the 21st. It's 10 days from Halloween. This is your tropical update and a whole lot more. Not only on the Atlantic Basin, but also the Pacific. A storm is brewing there that will impact the United States. It looks like later next week, we've got a strong cold front coming in. We've got this big storm in the Pacific hitting the west coast right now. That is going to end up impacting the long range forecast for Halloween. So we got a lot of ground to cover on this evening here. First of all, real quickly, where we are in the Atlantic hurricane season, we've had 20 storms. We made it to Victor. Wanda does not look like she is going to be forming anytime soon as the basin has settled down quietly. As far as the stats go for the year, in a normal full season through the end of November, we get 14 named storms, we get 7 hurricanes, we get 3 major hurricanes. That's Cat 3 or above. What have we had so far this season? Well, we've had 20 named storms, so well above the 30-year average as far as named systems go in this 2021 season. We've had 7 hurricanes, right on schedule. We've had 4 major hurricanes, a little bit ahead of what we would expect, and we're really beginning to wind the season down. The trajectory of statistical storm development second half of October into November really falls off a cliff. So it wouldn't surprise me if we're done. It also would not surprise me if we had another storm or two. If we're going to get development this time of the year, it's usually western Atlantic into the Bahamas, western and southern Caribbean, or into the Gulf of Mexico, and that has a whole lot to do with water temperatures being warmer here this time of the year, and also this time of the year we start getting our first cold fronts pushing off the east coast. Those are troughs of low pressure at the surface, and those sometimes you can get a low pressure to curly queue up off that trough, and you get a lot of activity this time of the year when you get it off the east coast because of those fronts. However, as we look at the activity right now, Caribbean absolutely quiet as a mouse. So is the Gulf of Mexico. Good. The open Atlantic, there's nothing brewing out here. Models are not picking up on anything over at least the next 5 days. So Hurricane Center and the models suggest no new development here in the Atlantic Basin for at least the next 5 days. However, over on the Pacific side, we've got a storm brewing, and this one looks likely right here to become a tropical depression, tropical storm, maybe even a hurricane. Next name on the East Pacific list is Rick. We had Pamela a couple of weeks ago that came across Mexico and gave heavy rain to parts of Texas. Well, Rick is going to try to do something very similar. At the moment, Hurricane Center has a 90% chance that Rick develops in the next 5 days, 70% chance in the next 2 days. So it looks like we're going to have a named system down here. Spaghetti plots on potential tropical storm Rick. Take it into Mexico. Basically a northwest track, Mexican coastline. It may make landfall there as a Cat 1 hurricane. We'll take a closer look at this. Here are the different models, the GFS and the Euro put together. The American model, the GFS in yellow, the Euro in red, and they both do pick up on a developing tropical system off the Mexican coast of the Pacific Ocean as we head into this weekend, Saturday, Sunday. The American model has it near landfall, near Acapulco on Sunday noon, and then the European run is a little bit further to the southwest, but still a developing tropical storm, maybe a Cat 1 hurricane. Now, as we'll put this in motion, you'll see 2 different scenarios. They're not too dissimilar. The American model takes it up into Acapulco and across Mexico. The European wants to take it up off the west coast of Mexico, further up there toward Cabo San Lucas. So we'll put this in motion, and you'll see the 2 different scenarios play out. They both end up dissipating the systems very quickly as it moves into the mountainous terrain of Mexico. However, the moisture slug with this system will stay intact. Here's another look at it. This is a closer view of the American model, the GFS, with the associated rain, and these are isobars, lines of equal pressure. When you see them stacked up like that, you know you've got a wind field that's really beginning to increase in strength. That looks like a Cat 1 hurricane is going to develop here. So here's Acapulco. So this may make landfall just west of Acapulco. That'd put Acapulco on the dirty side of that system. Do you have any friends or family in Acapulco? This is going into Sunday, this coming Sunday, the 24th of October. So the system itself dissipates, but the moisture goes across Mexico and ends up in the Gulf of Mexico. Is this going to redevelop in the Gulf? No, that looks highly unlikely. None of the models pick up on any type of new tropical development out here in the Gulf as we head into the early part of next week. So remember, landfall near Acapulco Sunday, Monday crossing Mexico, the slug of moisture. Tuesday, the slug of moisture is in the western Gulf of Mexico. So we go into Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night, and that may bring rain to the upper Texas coast, Houston to Beaumont, and to Louisiana. Lake Charles, Lafayette, New Orleans on Tuesday night. Things may get rainy overnight Tuesday night, the 26th. And into Tuesday, Wednesday, look at the slug of moisture moving into the deep south. So Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, all influenced by moisture from yet another tropical system coming out of the Pacific Ocean. That's going into the middle of next week. That's the 27th. And it's all being pulled northward by a trough. And this is where our Pacific storm, the core of it, will be by the time we get to next Wednesday. So a little bit less than a week out. This is the 27th of October. With that trough and associated surface front pulling that moisture up ahead of it and into the deep southern and eastern United States. But now we've gotten ahead of ourselves. So let's back up to the present. And here's what the map looks like this evening. And we've got a weak little low pressure area bringing a little bit of rain across the Great Lakes, up into Toronto, western Pennsylvania, the Virginias, the spine of the Appalachian, getting a little bit of rain on this Thursday night. No significant flood threat there. The system is relatively weak. Cold front has stopped its southern progression. It won't make it to Houston. Models keep spitting out a little bit of rain in Texas, but that really doesn't seem to be happening. There's almost nothing going on in Texas tonight. So that's where we are now across the United States. Off the Pacific coast, here is this beauty of a storm. And you may have already noticed this. It's a double-barreled storm. These are surface streamlines. We have one surface low here sitting west of Vancouver off the British Columbia coast. And then another low pressure area is winding up. And this one looks like it will be the stronger of the two. And that's north of the Aleutians, west of Alaska. So both of these will impact the west coast of the U.S. and the west coast of Canada over the next several days. And this is what's going to add up to so much rain and snow in the Pacific Northwest and British Columbia and play a significant role in busting the drought out here that continues even to this day. So let's put all this in motion and see how this is going to play out. First of all, what a lovely visible satellite we have on this Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening. Beautiful curlicue. And you can see, notice how, I'm going to zoom in on this just a little bit. Notice how, if you look at the striations in the clouds as winds wrap up and into that intensifying surface low, so you can tell the wind direction at mid and upper levels. It blows perpendicular to the striations. You see those striations in that visible satellite? So there, the striations are east, west-east, which means the wind direction is perpendicular to those striations. It's coming due out of the south, blowing south to north. Gorgeous looking low pressure. Here it is on the enhanced infrared. And I've put in the surface streamlines as well. So there's our low pressure area number one, and it's wind and rain. And they may see some significant rain tonight in lower elevations and valleys, Northern California, Oregon, and Washington. They're already seeing significant rain across British Columbia. But again, this one's a little bit more intense. That's the one that's going to be a bigger player later in the weekend into early next week. And there is the rain coming into Northern California, Washington, and Oregon. And there are some flash flood watches up for Northern California tonight and portions of Portland, of Oregon and Washington State. Waves are going to be significant. So set your bearings. Here's the globe. There's the North Pole. There's Greenland, Siberia, Kamchatka, Indonesia, Alaska, Canada, the United States. And we've got storm number one wrapping up here. Storm number two is wrapping up here near the Aleutian Islands. So storm number one, the waves are already coming in from that, and there'll be another round of waves going into Friday, Saturday. And so offshore, out here in the open Gulf of Alaska, we've got wave heights of maybe 20 to 25, maybe getting up close to 30 feet. That's over open water out here. So one rule of thumb is, what's the wind speed? Well, usually wave height is about half the wind speed in miles per hour. So if you've got 30-foot waves out here, how strong is the wind? Multiply by 2, 60-mile-an-hour winds. So 60-mile-an-hour winds would make, in theory, 30-foot waves. Wave height is, in theory, half the wind speed. So 30-foot waves out here. And that's about to be expected with this type of low pressure. We get a stronger surge of wave activity into British Columbia on Saturday afternoon and evening as low pressure number 1 winds up. You've got wave heights on the coast here running, it looks like maybe up to 15 to 20 feet or so right there on the outer islands. And at the same time on Saturday, Washington and Oregon and Northern California, got wave heights in here, it looks like 8 to 10, maybe to 12 feet right on the coast. Beautiful for wave watchers. And I happen to have been lucky enough to have been out here during a stormy day in Northern California on the Pacific coast, and it is devastatingly beautiful. And then surge number 2 comes in. Storm number 2 wraps up. This is going to be an even bigger wind and wave event. This is going into Sunday. So from Washington and Oregon and Northern California, look at the wave heights just a little bit offshore. You're getting up into 30, 33. I don't see anything red out here, but not quite 35 feet, but 30 to 35 foot waves out here, 50 miles off the coast. Maybe you're getting 20-foot swells in some places, especially Northern California, Oregon, Washington State. Just incredible waves out of these wind-making low-pressure areas. California going into Sunday night and Monday, you get your highest waves. That's why I tilted down here. This is when you're getting your highest waves. LA, it's not a big deal for you guys. You will see increased wave activity. It looks like 4 to 6 feet. But you get north of that, especially up towards San Francisco, wave heights estimated here look like 15 to 20 foot swells. Just amazing. Beautiful to watch, obviously very, very dangerous for anyone out in that. So that's the way the wave forecast looks for the west and Pacific Northwest coast. Computer models bring this in a couple of waves. Wave number 1 comes in Saturday. Again, we've got significant snows for the higher elevations of even Nevada, into Idaho, northern Utah, Wyoming. You're going to see a couple of spots that get 2-3 feet of snow before this is all said and done. That's just wave push number 1, Saturday. So we go into Sunday. Here comes push number 2 entering. There's our more powerful low pressure, the second one on Sunday with all the wave activity. It blows into the west, mountain west going into Monday, Tuesday. Tremendous amounts of snow. And yes, Colorado, you're going to get in on this as well, especially areas like Steamboat, Vail, Crested Butte, the northern and western part of the state going into Tuesday, getting some of the heavier snows there. And there's that trough that's going to bring that front in here. Oh, and at the same time, this is happening. Here's our moisture from Rick being pulled north, caught up in that trough. That's Tuesday. Wednesday, trough races east, becomes a little negatively tilted, which is concerning. That snow and rain may be heavy across the Great Lakes. When you see a trough curly-cueing back on itself a little bit, that's a negative tilt. It just indicates that up top you've got spreading out of the air molecules and you get a vacuum up at 34,000 feet, and that can cause more accelerated vertical motion and wring out more storminess, more rain, more thunder, more energy wrung out of the storm. Surface front continues to push east Wednesday through Thursday. Now Thursday, that's still moisture from Rick. So folks along the East Coast on Thursday the 28th, New York State, Pennsylvania, Delmarva Peninsula could see some heavy storminess on Thursday. And then after that, let's push it all the way out to Sunday, October 31st, Halloween. Now, we all understand that this is a long-range forecast. Computer models are not perfect, so this may change a little bit as we're trying to forecast 10 days out here. But at the moment, here's what it suggests, that we would still have a significant trough, a storm, across the eastern third of the country. So Halloween, at the moment, the model suggests a rainy, stormy Halloween from Michigan, the Great Lakes to Detroit, across, at least Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, especially Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, the Virginias. Look at the snow in the Appalachians, West Virginia. Heavy rain all across upper New York State into New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Long Island, Jersey, all getting wet. That's very stormy on Halloween. So the northeast coast in New England looks stormy for Halloween. Most of the rest of the country will be under the influence of this ridge, and that would make conditions very nice across the middle part of the country, the Great Plains down to the Gulf Coast. And I do see another little piece of energy coming in the coast of Washington, Oregon, California. Looks like a little bit of rain for you on Halloween Sunday. But really the action, the messy stuff looks like it is the northeast, Great Lakes, northeast and New England going into Halloween Sunday. For folks watching here in Houston where I'm based, that would make for a very pleasant Halloween for Houston. We'd probably have temperatures in the upper 60s to near 70 as the sun set on Sunday night for the trick-or-treaters. All right, that's where we stand right now. So much going on out there across the northern and western hemisphere. Leave me a comment, and we will see you next time for another complete update.